Hi and welcome to MyPlayHouse, and today we have a simple little video that, well, we're gonna be testing out some drives. I get some drives from work when they're not really doing too great and they have to be replaced. Then sometimes they're really dodgy, like all of these over here are really dodgy drives. We have tested those before and they, well, sometimes they work okay and then they don't work okay, and some of them are totally dead. But I have this one should be okay. This one down here is one that the Hewlett Packard system has tested dodgy and don't want to use anymore. And the same thing with this one, which haven't been released from the drive cage yet. So this is a 10 terabyte 7200 RPMs, and that is a 12 gigabit SAS drive. So pretty good specs, and it's a bloody shame to throw them out if they're, well, ever so slightly working. I kind of like fixing stuff, so finding stuff that isn't really that broken and can still be used, and maybe we can do some RAID configuration with it in another video. And here on YouTube, well, I can do RAID configuration with a bunch of 3 terabytes, but the wow factor is a lot better if I use some way bigger drives, and 10 terabytes is not bad. I have taken the drives out of this server, which is the awesome IBM/Lenovo X3650 Model 4, and this one is a model that uses 3.5-inch hard drives, which these clearly is. So too bad that they don't fit in here. The tray is for another system, but so I have to take the tray out. But let's get going. The system, I think we will wait a little bit. We'll test the one that should be okay. This is one that I took out from the Datacenter, and it should be okay. So we're gonna pop that in. Of course, you need trays for these system. I do have the trays, but it takes a while to remove all the screws and put the screws in again. And I found that if I just very carefully slide it in there, it will hit the connection on the back, and it will actually be okay. So now that is in. So let's see if the system sees it. I'll have this window open because I'm gonna try and check the firmware on them as well. So let's open up Disk Manager. Just check if the drive has revealed itself. It has, and I can see that I have had it in here before because I call them test something something something. So this one is test 5, so it is there. So let's run a quick test on that. Oh, now the lights is blinking. That means that the battery is running out. Just a second. Yeah, that's the good thing about YouTube. Even though I said I'll be back in a second, I've actually been away for a couple of minutes and you haven't even noticed, right? So we have it here. So let's run a hard disk tune test. I have found that when I run this test on the hard drive, if it's a good drive, it will have a very nice curve. And if it's a bad drive, it will start very nice and then it will drop out, and sometimes it will totally fail. So let's just see that. And this is an old version of hard disk HD tune, but yeah. So you can see what it's doing. It's kind of staying up here, and these hard drives are not bad. Transferring with 225 to 237 megabytes per second for a spinning disk, that is not bad. But sometimes they will just drop drastically, and I found that if they do that much, they're not keepers. So it's almost done, but while it's doing that, I'm using this little tool set that I got from subscriber Philip years ago, You see now it has done some nasty drops, but it's still transferring with 100 megabytes per second. So that's not a cool one, but it's not totally dead. It's still good-ish, but sometimes it will drop down and do way less than that. So yeah, this is it's an okay drive. It's not perfect, but yeah, Philip gave me this. Philip gave me this years ago, and I've been using it very regularly. And it's a really stupid little few dollar tool, but these are security talks, and I use them whenever I need to remove hard drives from trays. So thank you, Philip. So it completed, and as you can see, it did those drops. So the minimum transfer rate is just over 100 megabytes per second. So that's a real shame that it did that. But if it had just laid up there all the way, it would have been a perfect drive. So down here we're just taking out the security talk screws from this tray. So I also have this disk test thing, Alto disk benchmark. So we're gonna try and run that as well. This was suggested quite a few videos ago, and well, I found that it was cheap and well, it was free, but yeah. So let's run that and see if it also kind of performs okay. While it's running that, I'll be a real bastard here, and I'll plug my little shop that I have, where I have these trays for sale. So if you are in need of Hewlett-Packard disk trays, I'm not entirely sure what this disk tray is called, but they look like this, and 3.5 inches. I have a bunch of those, so if you are interested in those, they are available in my little shop. I ship almost everywhere. There is a few countries in the world that the Danish government tells me that we are not dealing with those countries, and yeah, then I'm not dealing with those countries. But otherwise, I will ship this to the US if someone needs it. It's a question that I get from time to time. Do you ship to the US? Yeah, I do. And I found that I can open this up, and then I can put the screws in here and close it again. Oh. And the screws won't come out, so that's brilliant. I don't think it was intended like that. Yeah, I have another one. I have a lot of them. Okay, so this result is actually pretty good. You can see very small files. The transfer rate is not that great, but as soon as we get up to decent transfer sizes here, we are over 200 megabytes, over 220 megabytes per second on all of them, all the way down there. So it's definitely not an awful drive. It can be used for something. So now we're at it, I might as well upgrade the firmware on them. I have two different kind of hard drives that are normal to come out of the system. This one is one of them. This is the other one that I have, but most of them looks like this drive, and it has a model number which is right here. That model number there, with the JWRTE there. So yeah, so we need to firmware update that. And last time I did this, which was a bit ago, we'll see that this is from March, late March. So if I put the mouse here, it will actually tell me which hard drives this will firmware update, and this is not the one. This is this drive, and so this WAYK, that one would work, but I don't believe it's the latest one. I believe it's this one. That was the one that I downloaded the last. Yeah, so we'll try and run that, and it's gonna install the HPD 2 firmware. Continue. I probably already had that firmware on that drive, but let's just check. So the installation was completed successful. Didn't actually tell me if that firmware was on there already, but yeah, there is different versions of that firmware as well. So, but I'm gonna go to the computer and make sure that there isn't an HPD 3 since April. Okay, so this drive was not bad at all. We're gonna release that. We're gonna put it in one of these very nice anti-static bags, just to be nice to it. Oh, I put an OK on it, so I didn't even see that. So let's try one of the new Dodgy doubtful drives. So another 10 terabytes. Yeah. Not sure if you can hear that, but it's it doesn't have a good sound to it. It's click 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 click. So I think we might already have a Dodgy one. It does not show up in Disk Manager, not yet anyway. Okay, let's try the other one first, and then maybe get back to this. Okay, let's detach this one. And then try this one instead. And the server becomes pretty pissed at me every time I do that, but it will be happy again. See, already it's better. And this one popped up in Disk Manager, which is, oh, it's a good start. So we need to online it. And it did that. And then we need to initialize it. GPT, fine. Let's make a new simple drive on it. Just next. We'll give it some name. Now the other one was test 5. Let's call this test 10. Formatting. It's just doing a quick format. There. So that part is done. So let's do the quick. See, info. Oh, wrong drive. There. It actually tells me here which firmware level it's on, and this tells me that it's already on HPD 2, so it's not totally wasted. This is a very old program, so it claims that the hard drive is only 2 terabytes, but I'm too cheap to get the professional version. This usually does the trick. So let's start the test. Yeah, this is not looking good. See how it dropped all the way down to 3.4 megabytes per second? That is usually a bad sign. There we are again, dropped to almost 100 megabytes, and there's another one. So yeah, this is not going great. Yeah, this is a pretty good example of when it's dodgy as heck. So you can see that it's dropped all the way down to 1.2 megabytes per second. From 240, just it's all over the place. So yeah, just for fun and giggles, let's try and firmware update it. Let's run this one again. I am doubtful this is not gonna help anything. I'm pretty sure of it. I have tried it before, but the drive is not good for much right now, so there is nothing to lose. Okay, that completed successfully. So let's minimize that again. I'll test it again. You'll get the result. Yeah, it didn't get far. It died. So yeah, this is real dodgy. Okay, I also ran this alto test on it, which also failed, but it actually kind of shows that the read speed, oh sorry, the write speed isn't too bad. It does some decent write speed, but the read speed is dismal. So yeah, something is not great there. This drive is definitely also dodgy as heck. Okay, so I changed the drives out again. This one was the one that we just saw, so I took that out and I took the other one in, and after a lot of clicking and hacking, yes, it sounded like it was doing that. It actually turned up here. I'm not holding my breath from this one. I have already online it, so now we're gonna initialize it. GPT, fine. Unallocated, we're gonna make a simple volume on it. We're gonna call it test 11. There. It's formatting. It doesn't sound great there, but it did it. So let's try this. Let's see. That also has the newest firmware on there, so it shouldn't be a problem. The last drive we tested actually did a lot worse after I ran the firmware update, but it could also just be that it heated up. Well, it starts the test really good. Oh, that was a bad drop. Oh yeah, okay, awful. Well, this is actually quite an improvement from not showing up at all. So yeah, it's just dodgy as normal. It goes from 7.5 megabytes per second to 240 megabytes per second. So it's quite a span. But yeah, I'll try and run the other tests and see if it will do that. So from this test alone, I wouldn't be able to see that there's anything wrong with this drive, because all these numbers are pretty good. Can't really see that it's done anything out of the normal. So naturally, with the other test doing so well, I ran this one again, but we still have a bad drive, and it's very clear to see that something is off when it does that. There's a million ways to check a bad drive, but this takes like 2 minutes, and I can see very clearly that this is a dodgy drive. So it very much looks like that the most valuable thing was the disk trays, which I am selling if you need some. So yeah, if you need some of these Hewlett-Packard disk trays, do check out my shop. Okay, I tried to firmware update it and the result is in. Made no difference. Yeah, so we didn't get any new good drives this time. We got two very dodgy drives. This one I've written on it that it's a long time to show up. Lang tid om at start up. Long time to boot up or start up. This one is just normally bad. I kind of know what this means. They're not totally dead. I'm testing another one now that had been in my mega array, which well, Microsoft storage pools kind of takes the drives and you're not able to do a whole lot with it when it has been in there if you don't let it out again. So it locks it down in some way, but yeah, there was a good reason why that storage array was dodgy, because it turned out I had some really dodgy drives in there, but some of the tests you can just put the drive in there, and like this Alto, you couldn't see that the drive was faulty in there. And yes, everybody will tell me to use this and that and that and this. There is a bunch of tools out there. There is also a test tool here, error scan. It takes days. Life is too short. I'm not gonna use days. This other test that does the takes a couple of minutes, and that is within reason. I don't want to spend a huge amount of time messing with this. I want something that kind of works right away and tells me if this drive is good or bad. If it's a bad drive, well, I don't really care what's wrong with it. I don't think it's fixable in a way that I would trust this drive very much. It's not as if I have anything important to put on these drives, but yeah, I have seen what the bad drives or multiple bad drives can do to a array of drives. It becomes very unstable. Yeah, slow as heck. So yeah, now this one is done, and it's definitely dodgy. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a like, even though well, I got a disc tray out of it, and you can purchase that from me in my little shop. Links it in the description. But other than that, I only got 2 dodgy drives. Maybe you can tell me, what could I use these dodgy drives for? What would they be good for? Thank you very much for watching my videos. Do subscribe to my channel so that you can see me again, and have a really nice day. Bye bye.